Good evening, everybody. It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the Londonderry Utilities Committee meeting for Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming out on this blustery, breezy, moonlit November night. So it's a beautiful moon out. If you haven't seen it, hopefully you'll still be there when the meeting's over and enjoy it. Moving right along into our agenda for tonight. Second item is public comment, and we have no members of the public here tonight, so we'll move on from that. And next item is the Town and Committee Strategic Planning Workshop. Kirsten, we'll let you run with that.
Sure, thank you. So thank you to everybody who has submitted anything so far. What I've done is I've put it together into a document that we can work on editing, amending, talking about today. If you'd like, adding to. Again, remember, this is a living thing that we're going to be working on for a while. So if you think of something later on, gosh, please do not hesitate to tell us. I mean that. All right. So the first few really focus on energy. The second group focus on water, and then I kind of go back to energy again. It's just a matter of the way they came in. This first group were sent in by Mike, and I used his sheet because it was more organized than my scribbles on pieces of paper. So we're going with his layout for right now. The first one that was the first objective that was offered was prepare the town to generate and or acquire 50% of its electricity demand from renewable resources by 2030. Some activities linked to that one: advertise and place on retainer solar engineering consultants, develop a database of grant and loan opportunities and nonprofit support, identify areas suitable for solar and or battery deployment in a GIS layer, match potential deployment areas to grant opportunities, and submit a project concept to the CIP and TC. And there was one thing that Sean wanted me to add in here, which was evaluate every new municipal building for solar, municipal building and roof replacement for solar.
I wonder if he'd be he would welcome saying every new municipal building and or parking lot.
I think we could create that as a separate one because, we're not necessarily looking to build a ton more, but possibly. So we could add the
Well, we do have roof and parking areas suitable for solar.
Yeah, and we won't necessarily, so the demands on town funds for construction and for buildings are such that there's certain things that need to be done for new facilities that before we start kind of retrofitting older ones. And so that would more likely be where it would start. And remember, this is a strategic plan. So we want to keep it doable within that year. We do anticipate that there's potentially going to be, there's conversation about the new public works facility and the new potential school district offices, right? So those are conversations in that year that would have to do with that. But I think we could also discuss, evaluate the use, and I know, Ray, you've brought this up before, evaluate the use of parking lots as solar facilities. We could certainly add that on there if you'd like.
Did you guys talk at all about EVs in terms of the town buying automobiles that are electric automobiles or hybrid automobiles? Is there any discussion about?
Not at this point in time.
Okay.
I think that in reality, in that year, we have a vehicle replacement cycle, so we're probably, realistically, it's not likely that we would change that cycle next year. But what we could do is we could study the use and look into and research the use of electric vehicles.
That's the way to look at it.
Yeah, we could start looking at it as we move through it, certainly. That, I think, is much more feasible in that 1 year period. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what is the
Yeah.
rotation? Is it every 1 year or 2 years or 3
There's
years?
certain vehicles that come up each year.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's a master lease program. It's Justin would have a whole lot more information about that, but it's something that we've worked really hard to get on so that we're regularly replacing things without a significant capital outlay
Yeah.
and without having to deal with massive depreciation. So
Could I ask a question?
yeah,
How does this fit in with the state of New Hampshire's plan moving forward?
this isn't the state's plan. This is the
No,
town's plan.
That's
Yep.
not what I asked.
Where these are, so that's the answer. We're not, this is the town's strategic plan, not the state's. This is not designed to, this is our community's priorities, and they may interact with the states, but we're not basing it off the states at all. This is our community's priorities, that as defined by you guys and everybody else in the community, not the state.
How did we come to the number 50%? Is that just, we sort of picked it out of the air, or is it?
That's a national objective that we'd just be signing up for, is 50% by 2030 and 100% by 2050.
Okay, that's fine.
But the question is, how much of it is realistic? I
Right.
mean, we
Yeah,
really don't know, do we?
No, it's aspirational. That's why the objective
All these are
says,
aspirational, all this is
I like that,
aspirational.
that's a new word,
the objective
aspirational.
says, prepare for the town to do those things, which is
Yes.
what it's trying to
Right.
accomplish here. But there should be an endpoint, right?
Yep.
Why are we doing this? Because we're trying to get to this other endpoint.
Yeah, exactly. And we may not hit it, but we might hit it. And that's the thing, is it sets that goal. Remember, the objectives are those bragging rights. Those are the things you want to say we do really well. And so these activities are lead it to it. And I think the performance indicators linked to this one are pretty clear as well. So,
If we did not do this, we would assuredly not achieve the objective.
Right, that's correct.
Exactly.
Chair. Two quick questions, Mike. One is, I know where you're going here, but looking at it from maybe a citizen's point of view, looking at this for the first time, maybe we should make it a little clearer in the objective that you're talking about municipal facilities here and
Yeah.
not saying mandatory for homeowners and all that kind of stuff, because that would be a cause of flack.
Yep.
And the second question is, and/or acquire, what were you talking about or thinking about there?
Second, it says second bullet?
Oh, I'm
So
sorry,
that-
under the objective, it
So that,
says,
so that, I take that as that would be, we would be buying it, if we're buying it on the open market, we'd be buying it from a renewable source.
Okay.
We'd be buying solar power, we'd be buying, hydropower. So we can do that with our partners. We can designate how much we want to buy from renewable resources.
we can do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's part of the attraction of working with the aggregation plan that we've got. It gives us that option.
Well, but wasn't there a very low level of participation
Absolutely.
in those kinds of programs? So
Tiny, yeah.
Yeah,
That was
They're
a reflection of, I think, the choices of residential and business customers. I don't know that the towns have ever, I don't have any data to say how they've reacted to that.
Is there a different cost if you want to get renewable?
Well, it is, yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yep.
You can look up.
The only issue I have with this whole thing is there's no cost structure to it.
and again, we'll get to so as we build this out, the idea being that these strategic priorities, once we have them, they will drive our budgetary decisions in the next fiscal year.
Maybe a good step would be to have the finance people do an analysis on the cost differential, because if it's
We're probably not going to do that at this point as we put together the plan and.
That has to happen before we do any implementation.
Yeah, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the town, the council behind the objectives. We're not going to go to them at this point because we need to, these are the ideas. Once we kind of have built out and organized them into those functional areas, that's kind of when that would come in before it gets produced to the council. We're still in the information gathering stages.
Okay.
And we don't want to necessarily put in, like, we're not going to move forward on kind of coming out with the full cost structure till the council says, yes, we want to do this. If the council says, yes, we want to do this, you're 100% right. But I think we're going to be, right now, we're trying to put together the plan, and generally when you put forward the strategic plan, there hasn't been a lot. We're not adding that component into it at this point. Does that make sense? I know, so.
They really aren't
Yep.
until you get to the second to the last bullet there. Maybe it's the
Yeah.
third to the last now. And until you do those other things, you aren't going to know what it is you're buying, and therefore you won't be able to put a dollar value on it.
But Mike, I'd be honest with you, I am, and maybe I'm sharing a concern from over here, but I see the payback on solar. You know, you can, at some point in time, probably put years to cover the costs, et cetera, et cetera. But sense now tells me that acquiring from higher cost sources of energy right now for the town, when businesses and residents aren't doing that en masse, I think is a bad thing to have in this. And I would just focus on generating both new and then as we rehab some of these buildings, our own energy and not acquiring necessarily or committing to acquiring necessarily this kind of power at a higher cost for the town.
I want to add in something here. The number, so this 50% by 2030 comes from what was negotiated back in 2015 in the Paris Climate Accords. And so it's 10 years old. That number is 10 years old. Since then, we have only exacerbated greenhouse gas emissions. And born in these costs that we're talking about, when we talk about these costs, we need to keep in mind that the costs of what we are dealing with in terms of climate change and the effects such as drought, we're currently experiencing right now, reduced crops, that is economics that are not born into the cost of switching to these renewable energies that would reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. So I think we need to think about that as a committee, and that's part of our education out to others, so that they have an understanding that when we are talking about costs, we need to look holistically at the picture, not just for that cost. And you know, as a homeowner, I have done these costs myself. I have 53 solar panels on our house. We are going to be making money when I stop paying those panels. And so, you know, that looking long term, and it's not even super long term. You know, it's over 10 years. They're still generating the same amount of power they did on day one that they were hooked up. So I think as we're developing these, I do think we need to be, I think we need to aspire to something that, yes, is realistic, but that maybe, you know, that we can go and we can argue positively for, that it will be an economic positive impact, and it will be a positive impact to the rest of our utilities as we're thinking holistically as an ecosystem here in Londonderry.
So what you're saying maybe is the cost of not doing it
Right.
is A, B, C, and D.
Yes,
I
exactly.
wasn't saying
Yes.
cost
Yeah.
for or against, I was
Right.
just saying there was
Yeah.
nothing in there that would even
Right.
promote the discussion.
As I say to my kids, you know, we have potentially great beachfront property, but we gotta do something so we don't have that. So,
So from this perspective, based on this conversation and putting together everything said, I said that generally the committee's favorable to this objective, provided the fiscal impacts to the taxpayer are considered and worked through in advance of adoption. And that can include both the cost of the implementation of these programs, the cost of the energy and what that would mean if we were to look at acquiring more expensive energy, which again, I don't think any of us are advocating for right off the bat, and the opportunity cost by not doing this. So it's considering the holistic financial picture. All right.
The reason I did it the way I did with the slash is to not commit to one or the other. It's
Yep.
just whichever.
Yep. And again, these will be refined. Sean will look at them, and Sean, Sean has, he's done this a few rounds, so he has very strong opinions on these things. And then once he goes through and we kind of group them, we'll come back to you on that, and then we can really work on refining them. So the second one is reduce energy.
Sorry, can we just correct the study of the introduction of EV/hybrid vehicles into town fleets? Because they're
There you go.
separate.
All right. So the next one that I have is reduce energy demand in town facilities. Budget for energy efficiency upgrades identified by GDS. Establish an energy benchmarking system and implement efficiency upgrades. Upgrades reflected in the FY. I'm just going to tweak this because this is going to be for 28. So FY 28 budget. Staff hours and software resources for identified no later than. Baseline benchmarks established no later than 31 December. Upgrades completed no later than 30 June 2017. I might actually, what I'm going to do here is, I guarantee you we're going to identify more updates. So we might need to refine that one a little bit further. I don't know that we'd be able to get all upgrades, but based on that, we can.
No, that's good.
Any thoughts on this one? This seems to be something that you all have Mike did a really great job of putting something you all have been talking about consistently into words here. All right, you're making this one easy. All right, and then below we have sponsor a solarized program to benefit Londonderry residents and businesses. Solicit proposals from qualified solar installers, publicize the solarization program through public meetings, newspaper articles, and local access TV. So an installer selected no later than August 2026, attendance and comments at public meetings, solar capacity installed by residents, businesses. Mike, could you flesh this one out a little bit more in terms of what you mean by a solarized program?
Yeah, it's been used in the state before. In fact, we've done it in Londonderry before. Did your system go in because of the Solarized campaign?
We benefited from it, but we didn't know about it until we had decided to
course.
put it in. Yeah.
But basically, what we do is we contract with a solar installer and say, look, if we bring a large number of jobs to you in this one location where you have all the financial advantages of bringing your material and your people, everything into one place, do everything at once, will you cut us a deal on the cost of doing the installation? And then we spend a lot of effort getting people to be aware of it and signing up for it. I think the last campaign, which was in maybe 2013, something like that, we got about 10 or 11 houses done. I mean, I think we could do more. I think not necessarily talking about right today under the current political climate, but get this thing organized, put together, and lined up, and maybe even we can go to. What would be great is if we could go to companies and say, we have 20 people lined up.
Right.
So there's some devil in the detail here, but the idea for a solarized campaign is to get the cost down by grouping a large number of installations together.
Yep.
And the town could be a part of that easily.
Was there any way the town, if people decide they want to solarize their house, can the town begin to think about, well, people are going to join this and put solar panels on the roofs. Maybe we should charge them maybe as an incentive, since we won't have the federal incentive anymore, federal tax
We
incentive.
provide an incentive.
The town provides an
Yeah,
incentive in
right.
terms of property tax. And we say, okay, your property tax will be blankety blank
Well, we
less.
already do.
Yep, there is a
There's a small.
small
incentive.
There is one, yeah.
Yeah,
How-
so
what is it?
basically, this is
Maybe
a
we
volume
could-
discount,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for the
volume
company.
discount concept, yeah.
The other
What I-
thing
What I
that,
was searching for is
Yeah.
to, we put a lot of effort into about a 1% of the town's electric load. What
Right.
about the other 99%?
Right.
So what can we do for them? And I'm, hopefully there's some other good ideas we can come up with, but
Yeah.
that's the thought behind this.
Well, how much do you get as a rebate in property taxes if you have solar? Do you get what? Do you know if it was?
I don't know the number off the top of my head for the
Yeah.
credit.
Like maybe
I mean, maybe we
$300?
can
Yeah,
increase
it's
it
not,
or
it's
provide
3 or
more
5, or
motivation.
5, or, yeah, yeah,
That's not a lot.
Percent.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
So
something.
I'm not actually, I think New Hampshire has CPACE, but I'm not 100% sure, which is the Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, so we can also look and see into that. Sean mentioned it when I was talking through this with him, so it's a possibility as well, and I feel like that would fall under here as well.
I think that number you're looking for is authorized by statute, so it's not necessarily something the town can
Oh,
do,
well, that would be interesting to find out.
yeah.
Stand by.
Excuse me, Mike. Maybe on this one, I like the whole concept, but maybe we should leave ourselves open to going a different route, listening over from that side of the table over there a little bit, in that a direct rebate program, rather than getting in the pick the installer business, which might be difficult and perhaps even considering what solar installers look like, some of them out there might be a little risky. Maybe we'd be better off saying, you pick the installer and we give you a $500 Amazon gift card once your program is up and running, so that we're supporting with a successful installation with a rebate, rather than getting into the business. And just as another possibility on this same line.
Yeah, I'd hesitate to say anything like that at this juncture. I just think we can't authorize taxpayers' money to go to something like that.
Yeah.
A lot more discussion on it.
Yeah.
How are we proposing to push this forward?
Push what forward?
So we're not quite, we're proposing right now to look at it, to study it during that time period.
Yep.
Okay.
We're not suggesting we implement it now, but we're saying we look at the feasibility of it during this time period and look at the possibility of building it.
Yeah, well, Mike's got a
think the
pretty aggressive
feasibility is
time
there.
schedule, so.
So Kirsten, on the first part, there's a lot of, look at engineers and do a lot of this research ourselves. There's companies that are developers, and Lynn and I talked to the one that was looking at the airport, and they didn't get there. But there's companies that's their entire business is putting in solar systems, and we don't have to spend however many hours doing the research and doing all that work. We can just find a half a dozen developers and say, hey, Londonderry's open for business for solar.
But
This
you
is
want to
what-
find reliable, solid companies who are doing that
Yeah, that's what, find 6 or 12 and weed out the best one.
Yeah,
These
and I
guys know
think
how to
that's
do-
all that's being suggested, in my opinion.
Well, I didn't see that on there. It was like, we're gonna hire an engineer and put him on retainer, we're gonna do all this work and all this research. There are people that's the business that they're in.
The purpose of, if we had,
I mean,
if we had the engineering firm hired on a retainer, and we could then use them to evaluate the proposals from the installers. The
Yeah,
last time we did this, we did it ourselves, and, it worked out just fine. We got some very, detailed, 2-inch binder proposals from, 5, probably 10 companies, but we narrowed it down to about 3, took a hard look at them.
Go down the stairs.
It's not rocket science, and then if we have somebody on retainer to actually do a technical evaluation, that's all the better, but we're mixing up two different objectives here. So the hiring the engineering firm was to help us decide how best to implement the solar development in town, not to help with the solarize.
no,
Yeah.
that's what yeah. I mean, if you're saying use the engineer to help us assess proposals, I'm all for that. But if we tell developers that we have a target of 50% of our power coming from renewables of some type, they will be chomping at the bit. You know, they'll do the math and figure out how much power we sell, and then they'll figure out how much math, and then they'll call a guy like me to raise, me 10 years ago. I'm not in that business anymore, but, and, you know, there's a whole infrastructure set up to build this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think, yeah.
Valid point on having the engineer around to help analyze like a biomass plant. I mean, I don't know how to do that,
Yeah,
but
keep in mind, we did just hire another engineer onto our staff. Our deputy director of public works is an engineer, so I don't know what his exact portfolio is. He'll be in front of you soon, so he might be able to do that on his own. So I think that one of the things I like about this is that it is, I don't want to say vague, because that's not the word, but it has room to maneuver between those things in it, built in. So it's, you know, and again, this can definitely be refined if we decide to, if the council and if Sean decides to really push forward with this solar and energy thing. And judging by the strength of this proposal, I think energy conservation, solar, renewable energy will be a component in there, in the strategic plan somewhere. We can definitely work through the specifics of how that would happen and move forward at that time. This,
Is it not already in the town manager's strategic plan?
there is no strategic plan right now. That we're making the strategic plan. That's what we're doing. We're working on the strategic plan.
The town manager doesn't have a.
The town in London, no, the only town in New Hampshire that has a strategic plan is Lebanon. So there is no strategic plan right now. We're making it. That's
They
what
have
we're doing.
master plans.
Master
They have
plan, yes.
Master plans, and
Yeah.
we have a master
I
plan.
understand, but I think the town manager has some thoughts of his own.
Oh, I'm
Well,
sure.
This is what we're doing. We're
Yeah,
doing this
that's
because
why
the
we're
town
doing
manager
this.
asked us to do this.
This
We're
is
doing
part-
this at the town manager's
This
request.
is part of it.
This is what we're doing. This is the town manager's request. You guys
Have
are
we-
contributing.
Have we discussed about, hiring an engineering firm? How's that gonna be financed?
That is a later question. If this objective makes it into the final plan, the idea is that your strategic plan drives your budget decisions, not just what you did last year. If you go back and watch any of Sean's presentations from past weekend, from last night or from Saturday, he talks a lot about shifting from incremental budgeting to strategic budgeting, to take our priorities, focus on our priorities, and that's what drives our budgeting rather than just what we've always done. So that is something that he's looking for. So that's why we're helping him build out these priorities, because the strategic plan can't be Sean Mulholland's plan. It has to be the town of Londonderry's plan as endorsed and supported by the council and as developed by the people of Londonderry. So that we're in that stage right now.
So the way I look at it, this is the 10,000 foot view of this, okay? A lot of the things we're discussing are more like at the 1,000 or 500
Yeah.
foot view.
Correct.
Short final.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
So let's stay at
We'll
the
get down to
10,000.
ground level soon.
Exactly.
We'll have our opportunity to get there, but, you know, you can't get to the 500 unless you get approval for the 10,000. So let's.
Exactly. And that's why I know like the money piece is like, it's top of all of our minds because you can't do it without the money, right?
Right.
But if this becomes a priority, this becomes where the town is willing to figure out the long-term funding for it, the funding to do it. And that is the idea.
But it also gets us rolling all in the same direction to an agreed
Yeah.
to path.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when somebody says, why are you doing this? Well, this was in our
Because you
strategic
made
plan.
us.
The town council said this is a priority, a strategic priority. It was developed by our citizens. This is what we're doing, and it was supported. And we're going to do more feedback sessions from citizens as well as we move forward. So this is going to be a constant cycle. I jumped forward to the next energy one here because I wanted to treat them all together. So provide Londonderry Eversource customers with the lowest energy supply costs. Which is monitor market conditions quarterly with aggregation partner Freedom Energy Logistics, twice yearly press releases to the Londonderry Eversource customers confirming pricing and market conditions, and 100% of inquiries to either Freedom Energy Logistics or the town from Londonderry Eversource customers answered within 7 days. Pretty clear KPI about how to do that. This one, I think if we move forward, we probably have to flesh out a couple other KPIs and a couple other action items in there, but What do we think about providing Londonderry Eversource customers with the lowest energy supply costs as an objective?
I would probably rephrase that with something along the lines of, 10% improvement in energy costs compared to the standard offer. Or at least 10%.
So in
That
terms
might
of,
be a KPI as opposed to,
Fair enough.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
that's- I think you're right.
I just don't like the word lowest. I mean,
How about
there's-
lowest feasible or lowest?
yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Paul. I agree.
that's all.
Energy
How about
supply,
lowest-
supply cost.
Lowest reliable? Are you trying to get at that you want to make sure it's reliable
Well,
energy or?
if you want the cheapest energy, it may not be there sometimes.
Right,
You know? Yeah, there's a little more component than just lowest.
Right.
That's all I'm
How
saying.
about best cost energy supply? Best cost
Fine.
energy supply.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to get into, yeah.
Yeah, the idea was, if, obviously to implement an aggregation program, if we can make that happen, if market conditions make that happen. And if we implement that program and then for whatever reason Eversource undercuts them,
then it,
we adjust.
Yeah.
The idea is we just keep monitoring what the market conditions are, what our partner can provide for us, and we adjust accordingly.
If you just want to say beat the Eversource standard rate, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
If you can't beat it, then you don't do it.
Right.
all right.
Well, but we're gonna have an ongoing aggregation program, right?
Yep,
So if
absolutely.
we have another period of time where the Eversource rate or whoever's rate is less than ours, is part of providing customers the lowest possible energy, maybe educating people that, hey, this is the time that you should really even switch off of our aggregation program and go to Eversource because they happen to be cheaper for the next 4 months. Should we be training people to make that change as opposed to the fact that most people don't even look at that anymore?
I would say that second bullet in the middle column would be that.
As well, adding on there, as well as ability to opt in, opt out. You're being very, you want it clear to people that they can move back and forth to save money.
Yeah, most people don't do that or aren't aware of it one way or the other.
So, all right. Any more on this one?
Yeah, the aggregation program's gonna be an ongoing monitoring program.
Don't we have customers served by other than Eversource in town?
We have private energy consumers, but they are not,
No, I mean, there's no,
Unitil?
yeah, no Unitil
Do we have
customers?
So
no-
they're not gonna be under that program.
yeah.
It's only Eversource customers that are
Oh.
under the aggregation
Oh, okay,
program.
yeah.
But
All right.
that's not to say, once again, going back to that second bullet, that we address them as well and letting them know what the market conditions are and bringing them into the fold.
Yeah, they could, right?
Yep.
Right.
So that brings us on to water. So these are the ones we received about water. At the Water Utilities Committee meeting, a lot of these came straight from Anne, which she came like locked and loaded to talk about these things. It was awesome. One first objective is encourage testing of all private wells in town. 2 action plans for this would be to develop like a thermometer that shows what percentage of wells have been tested. And I have to say, Sean loved that idea. He thought it was
Yeah,
great.
good.
I just briefly showed him these beforehand and he was like, I love that thermometer. So that's a cool thing. And develop a communications plan for not only disseminating information about getting your well tested, but collecting it back on the town level. And
I
we'll
want to
flesh.
say regarding drinking water, instead of just water, just drinking water.
Oh, on the second one?
On the, under
one?
the objectives, yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump down to that one. I'll change that now.
Okay.
So first one, what do we think about that? Encouraging universal testing in private wells.
I think that's fabulous, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we can have, the KPI for that is pretty straightforward. Have X percent, and we can flush this out. Flush this out, not flush. I keep saying
But-
flush this out.
Lose sight of the fact, though, that this has to be periodic, so it's encourage periodic testing, right?
Yep,
And on the indicator side, it'll be on an annual basis,
yep.
words to that effect.
Is it annual or every 5 years, or is it?
Annual groundwater moves.
If you did
That-
20% of your residences every year, that would be a 5-year rotation.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
challenging. I'm like, do you need to test your well every year? Do you test it every 5 years? Or, I mean, that's a question. I mean, Amy,
I think that's a personal decision.
Yeah.
When I talked to the well company the last time we had ours done, they suggested every 2 years.
Yeah, I've seen that on the DES website.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So there you go, there's two different ones, both,
It depends too on your contaminant.
yeah.
Yeah.
good point.
If it's PFAS, which has been changing and getting worse, you might want to do it more frequently.
And if you have a neighbor who's received a letter, and you've gotten a copy of that letter,
Right.
right, saying that you could also be
Do the private
contaminated.
testing companies have to report to the state? I just wondered how we would know how many private wells have been tested. If that's a
I do
statistic
know that a
that's
lot of the data does get reported to the state, and a lot of people will, if people test their well, they generally are eager to report the data. We've had people self-report data to us for the Old Dairy Road area, so,
That's a good question.
you know,
So
the
the
tracking, we can
communication, yeah.
certainly flesh out the tracking mechanisms. I'm gonna hate that word by the end of this day. We can certainly more clearly delineate the tracking mechanisms moving forward and how we would do that. And we can answer those questions. That's a great question, because I don't know the answer about the reporting protocols exactly.
No, because I like the
Yeah.
KPI, but I just want to make sure that it's something
Yeah.
we can measure.
But yeah, so do we like this one?
I think we, the only question I'm a little concerned about is should we say, because usually a lab will sample for volatile organic compounds for VOCs, and they don't necessarily do it for PFAS or PFOA, and it usually costs like an extra $300 to do PFAS and PFOA. So we may have to specify VOCs plus PFAS and PFOA. And that's
I'm pretty sure everybody right now, not everybody, but I think with the emphasis on PFOA and PFAS, that people are seeking out that testing. I think you're 100% right that we should look at it, encourage it, and make people understand. I think you're going to find, based on what people have sent to me so far, that people are definitely thinking your way too, making sure they get that testing. So when they are getting it tested. So I think that's going to be an easier reach than
we
maybe you
think
might
it
think,
is.
yeah.
Great.
Will the state only test when there's a letter's gone out to neighbors or
No,
something?
not necessarily. There's
No.
a process, and at this point, because these processes change a lot,
Yeah.
generally suggest to everybody that if they're interested in getting their water tested, they just reach out directly to Derek Barnett at the state.
Or Amy Rousseau, who's in the paper.
So Amy Rousseau has her duties have changed. There's definitely there's Casey Moran is in charge of the rebate program, and Derek Barnett is in charge of testing. They publicize those two people as the people to reach out to.
You
Okay.
know, that
So,
should
yeah.
be corrected in the paper, because it's not correct in the Londonderry Times. It says to call Amy.
So when we sent out information to the people in Old Dairy, we included the state's one, and that's who the state. If you go to the state website, that's who they tell you. If you do water testing, it sends you direct to Derek. So
And so will Amy. If anybody calls her,
yeah,
they,
she'd be like,
she
"Oh,
will.
call Derek." Yep.
Yeah.
So Amy's duties have shifted. She was definitely the person who was in that
Yeah.
to begin with, but so her duties have changed a little bit. So yeah, that water testing this with Derek Barnett.
Great.
And I hope I'm getting his first name's Derek, his last name begins with a B. I could be getting it wrong, and I apologize if I am.
Sorry, Derek.
Derek, yes. All right, next one. Develop a comprehensive understanding of drinking water quality in Londonderry. So this is where this was the micro view. This is the macro view. And so some of the action items would be to gather information on contaminants in Superfund sites in terms of leakage, look at water quality of municipal water suppliers, and ensure all wells on town-owned property are tested with results publicized.
Yeah. Smart.
I'm not sure, like most of municipal property is already on municipal water. It's already on the utilities, almost everything. but there are sometimes monitoring wells and everything, so we would want to make sure that any of that monitoring well data is made public. So this one, we haven't built out KPIs for the water ones yet.
Do you want to say, look at water quality of the, Pennachuck and Manchester? Do you want to name them?
I think we say municipal water suppliers is
Yeah,
fine for
keep
right
it
now.
general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the previous one, to me, the idea of this being periodic is important. You need to see what changes are across time.
Yep.
So we've already done 2 rounds of surface water testing and well water testing in Londonderry. 2000 and, I don't know, 8, 6, something like that, and then again 2013, 14. So, we've got 2 data points, so this needs to be set into a broader testing framework that makes sure that this happens periodically. And I'd still argue to put the word periodic in the first bullet, the first objective there, periodic testing.
I was trying to flesh that out here to be a little bit, to
I
get
know
to
we're
work.
on the objective side.
Yeah. I
think that's a really good point, though, because what you're saying is look at the patterns of contamination
Right.
from the results of those tests over time.
Yeah.
Right.
And somebody's got to put that out in sort of a spreadsheet so and make sure they collect it and keep it.
Yeah.
And advertise it to the community.
So I'm going to bring us back to the 1 year aspect of this too. We're looking for what we're going to do over that 1 year. And before we do periodic and routine, we need to get step
Baseline.
1, right?
Baseline.
And that's where, Mike, when we do a 1 year strategic plan with looking ahead to years 2 and 3, year 1 is let's get everybody to test their water. Year 2 is educate and encourage periodic testing of water and track. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that's how we work that in there, because if we were already doing this, that would be a great one, but we're not quite there yet. So let's get there. I'm going to pick this up a little bit because we are spending, I don't want to keep you here super late. Routine water updates to the town council. This one's super straightforward. Water related update at town council meeting. We had originally said every other meeting in monthly at the subcommittee meeting. Sean asked me to change that to quarterly, just because realistically. Is that something we can all get behind?
Yes.
All right. Engage proactively with state level stakeholders on water issues. And this might end up falling under a larger objective about communication. These two might end up merging, but visit legislative delegation town halls and request other representatives to hold town halls. Under the Comprehensive Communication Initiative, there is hold at least 2 community engagement events surrounding water per year. Develop a short form video series. Sean really liked that one too. Write letters to the editor and news articles, and school engagement. And this is where, Joy, your knowledge would probably, even though you're not on the water subcommittee right now, pulling in your knowledge would be great for that. And then we would build out KPIs based around these. Questions on that?
Is that the final water thing? Or- No.
Yes. Yeah.
I was struggling with the stream quality. So we have very good data at DES on the water quality of our surface waters. And as it turns out, a lot of them are impacted. A lot of it just biological oxygen demand, some nitrogen, some
Stormwater runoff.
it-
Other runoff.
But the point is, we know the problems, but we don't know the sources.
right.
So, one of the actions that I think, but I was thinking it should be through the Conservation Commission, but, listening to all this, I'm thinking maybe it's more appropriate here. I mean, I realize that's not an important distinction, because this is gonna all go into the plan anyway, and a lot of these are gonna cross disciplines. But somewhere, either here or there, we need to get across the idea that we need to find out what the sources are of the pollutants that we're dealing with. I mean, we certainly know one over in Merrimack, but there are others, other pollutants and other sources. And then we need to figure out how do we deal with them.
Okay. I'm gonna put that down here because are we clear? I think this one needs a little more fleshing out, kind of going back and forth, but I think you're right that it's a good objective, like to build an objective about not just treating it's like we have the interim remedy, like putting in water lines is an interim remedy, right? That's not the final remedy. The final remedy is treating the pollutant. So this is, what we're talking about here is a lot of interim remedies, but
Right.
you can't do this until you find out the source.
And are you referring to lakes, rivers, streams?
Yes.
Okay, versus,
We're a little low on lakes around here, but, yeah,
Right.
but, you know,
right,
so we certainly have the streams.
yeah.
We do have a lot of water.
All right.
And Mike, I haven't put in any of my suggestions yet, but I'm gonna put one in, an objective that has to do with, understanding our septic systems. And so I think putting into track that would also, give information towards the impactment of the surface waters.
We're
Yeah.
pulling a lot of phosphorus off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the solid waste and the waste and septic and those yet. So when those come in, we'll go over those too as a group. But, it's definitely something that's also we desperately want input from y'all too on that. That's important.
If you're looking for sources, stormwater runoff is key.
And these are
Everything that's in a river, stream, or surface water came from somewhere. Some comes from the air, but probably most of it comes from stormwater runoff.
And these are the things that's exactly what I think Mike is saying that we need to document, put together and make clear.
Whose parking lot?
Yeah.
Whose unmaintained stormwater system?
Exactly.
And that's where my
Farm.
discussion with John Trottier.
Farm.
Well, the nice thing is
and
too
the
also,
town engineers
yeah.
that are working on that, MS4.
The MS4, so the nice thing is that over the course of the same fiscal year, we're going to be putting in the wastewater and sewer components of the asset management plan, which will allow us to kind of build out that database of the MS4 and stormwater management system and have it really all in front of us in the computer. We'll be able to track all of that information. So it's going to be, we're actually really excited about phase 2 of that. And that'll be coming at the same time in this fiscal year. So can definitely work. We have some conversations with OpenGov coming up. So this is getting my brains kind of the wheels turning on how we can incorporate this into that program. So thank you for that. And then the last one I'm going to leave hanging a little bit here because I think this is part of a slightly different objective. But implement a formal grant investigating, writing, and submission process. That's actually probably going to be more of an action item under a larger objective of, researching, obtaining a diverse, source base for financing these projects. So I think we're going to build out a larger one around that. How are we feeling about these objectives? You feeling like this is kind of what you were hoping for?
Yes.
Is it kind of what you were hoping for? as
Yeah.
well?
I think they're great. You guys heard my feedback at the water one. I was giddy. I was like, these are great. These are awesome. And then when I got these ones from the other ones sent in, this is great. This is exactly what we need. And maybe not all of them will fall into next year's strategic plan. And that's okay because we're going to keep them. We're going to keep coming back to them. We're going to move forward and we're going to put all these together and kind of come up with an overall thing. And then when it comes time to go to the council for this, come May, your support is going to be crucial.
So we have time to submit more, is that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you haven't sent things to me, please send more things to me. I'm working on compiling them right now, and then I'm still even going to some committees. Like we haven't been to conservation. We're going to conservation the end of this month to talk to them. I'm going back to Heritage again this month. Haven't even done senior resources yet, and I'm sure that they're going to have some input, so I'm looking to get to them in December and January. There's only so many night meetings I can go to a month before my sleep cycle is permanently disrupted. But so this is, and it's ongoing. And if you think of something, once we've even gotten it approved in May and you're like, you know what, this really should be a priority next year, submit it, talk to us. We love this. This is what we want to know. So
So you talk about a May approval date. Is Sean looking like April for having a final draft out there for review?
Yeah, probably we're looking at April. Once we get all this together and once budget season is kind of quieted down a little bit, it's going to be coming up with the platform. I'm thinking of using Power BI and Microsoft to build out something so that it can link to SharePoint lists. So it's easy for our staff to maintain. And then there'll be a final draft out there. There'll be 2 public hearings on it before adoption. And then it's interesting, you're gonna see us kind of jump right into the revising project for the next year too, so it's linked to the budget cycle because the budget process is gonna start a lot earlier next year too. So this is all changing. So,
So I would say if anybody has additional ideas they want to present, have them in, because it's going to be March before we know it. So
Yeah.
if you're thinking about it, you're going to miss your
Yeah.
opportunity.
In my head, it was like, get them in before year end.
Yep.
that would be great, yeah, like, I'd like,
Yeah,
yeah,
ideal.
and like, we can go, and we'll go back and forth, and once I pull them all together, I'll be able to go back and forth on KPIs and things like that a little bit more, and kind of benchmark it off other strategic plans in the country. Because that's the other thing I'm planning on doing, is once we have all these things, I guarantee you another municipality somewhere in the country that has a strategic plan probably have that objective, and gosh darn it, I bet I can find some KPIs and some really good ideas there, so,
Are you going to send us these slides?
yeah, I'll send this out to you, yeah, once we did this, so, awesome.
And you like this format, huh?
Huh?
You like this format?
I like this format for today.
Okay.
For today.
Well,
I like
just
this.
head over there, set it up, so.
I like this format because it showed up in my inbox this way, and I just needed to add things to it.
Like this.
Other people. So we had, like, I had a different form. Like the budget committee one. Like I made a form that I sent out to people that just had these 3 boxes, right? And so we'll end up. This isn't the final form, but this is a great way to send them to me. Lynn sent them to me in an email, just objective action items, KPI, objective action. However you want to send them to me is great. This seemed like a good way to put it on the screen today.
Sure.
Keep it simple.
You'll find that the Conservation Commission one is gonna look remarkably similar in format.
Love that for me. I wonder why that might be. All right. And also just as a note for those of you wondering, the current exemption amount is 100% of the assessed value of the system. So there you go. And the RSA that governs that is 72, 61, and 62.
So does that just mean you don't pay property tax on your solar panels?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the,
Yeah, that doesn't.
And we'll keep the strategic planning as an agenda item for next month as well.
Sounds
just
great.
So we can bring it up.
Just so
Talk
you know
about
too,
any
I'll be
changes.
bringing James with me next month. So James will be, you'll get James next month to start kind of introducing himself to you. He's our Deputy Director of Public Works. He started Monday. I've already filled up most of his schedule for November because I'm nice like that. So he'll be here in December.
Okay, great.
Figured let him go home on time on day 2. Somebody asked.
Don't set unreasonable expectations. So, anything else?
Nobody should model themselves off my behavior.
Anything else on the strategic planning?
I don't have anything right now.
Good. Moving on, administrative board work. We have some minutes. John, I know you got a couple of comments, so
Yep,
we've worked those in.
Well, my guess and Arthur, I already included those, sent them out, and thank you for the review.
And those will be from September. So take a motion to approve the September minutes.
October minutes.
October.
October
October.
7th.
I'll never get it straight.
I'll make a motion to accept the October minutes.
Do I have a second?
second?
All in favor of approving the October minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And they're approved. John, thank you for doing that.
Quick request. Kristen, did the PO get approved for the server?
That is not something I can speak to in terms of where that's at. Where I'm linking to YouTube videos now on the agendas, so I don't know that they're going to be up there. I can't speak. I can't. answer
So,
that.
my request is, I will bring my memory stick over to whomever needs to, upload it, I'll do it, or you can put it in a secure space with password, and I will then turn around the minutes the next day. For me to do YouTube, it took me almost 6 hours. You know, it's unfortunate because you move your mouse and you wanna go back 5 seconds, and you go back 5 minutes. And then you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Let me see what I can do about getting you a recording. I know it was last month just wasn't going to happen, based on, like I said, that,
If it can happen, let me know ahead of time, so I won't wait.
Yeah.
I'll just get it done.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, John, I do minutes for Heritage, and because there've been a couple of issues over the years, I use my phone, and I grab them on my phone on memos, whatever the hell it's called, and I just tape the meetings there, and I can go back and forth pretty readily.
So I can input it to either Google or Teams, and I can record it word for word, and then I have to go through, because what I try to do is take each one of the subcommittees, and knowing what you guys are doing, highlight that, and not the verbiage in between, because either the paper picks it up, or people want to read it. I want to let them know what we're doing, and where we're going to in the future. So those are the things I think of, and that's why I like the big screen and headphones and do it that way. But thank you, I've tried that too.
John, on the YouTube, I just double checked it. If you use your left and right arrow key, it'll
Yep.
bring you forward and back 5 seconds.
On YouTube,
Yeah.
left and right, I will try that.
Just
That'll be great. Thank you, whatever.
I'm a helper.
I can't do it on my town computer, but worst comes to worst, I may be able to figure out how to get it off YouTube for you.
Thank you.
Anyway, so, that's neither here nor there.
So, anything from staff?
So much. All right, starting with behind, what we have right here is we have the draft of the new administrative code. The section involving boards and committees that we're looking to bring before the council in January. Gives us the authority under which each board is formed, in your case, the municipal code, the appointments and terms, straightforward. I want to go over the duties and responsibilities and make sure that you all agree that this is what the Utilities Committee does. So first off, advise the town council and town managers on matters related to public utilities serving Londonderry, including water, sewer, stormwater, gas, and energy infrastructure. I'm going to keep going unless you stop me because you want to say something.
Shouldn't we have waste in there?
Stormwater right here? Is that what you're saying?
Solid waste.
No, stormwater is great.
Oh, waste, yep.
Solid waste. In stormwater's new.
Yeah.
I don't think we had stormwater in our original charter.
Okay, do we want to, would you prefer to strike that?
I think we need to have a conversation with the Conservation Commission as to who owns it. I'm not sure that this is the right group of people to own stormwater, but stormwater, I'm not sure it's not the right group, but
I mean, I guess you couldn't, so
stormwater's not a
having
utility.
advise in there, it doesn't necessarily say that you're the be-all, end-all, but certainly you could offer advice on
Because
it.
stormwater's not a utility.
But it is managed by infrastructure, and the
Right.
Conservation Commission doesn't do anything other than natural infrastructure.
Yeah, and, no, that's why I say it's not, I don't know who the right organization is. I just know we need to have a conversation.
All
on it.
right, I am
And
gonna
I don't want to
throw,
have something
There's no
inserted
rea-
here without,
There's no reason though why the council couldn't get two sets of advice on something, right?
I'm not saying,
So, and can I make just ask the question, Tristan, is,
Mm-hmm.
so it says water, which is general term,
Mm-hmm.
should it be drinking water? And should we add septic into that in addition to sewer? Anyway, I don't know. the
I
answer
think
to
it
that.
Water
should say-
include fire water as well?
I feel like you deal with water in a lot of different ways
Yes.
too, not just water infrastructure, so I don't know if I want to, like you were talking about knowing the source of pollutants here, right? So that kind of expands it beyond.
We're concerned with water contamination.
Sewer, but I do agree that, all right,
and I'm a firm believer of having a designated point of contact responsible, so that's why I want to have the discussion with Marge.
absolutely. And we can have that conversation in December. We can look to try and have some kind of conversation on that overlap and where that lives. I think this is a good time to have it
Yep.
before January.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, promote coordinated planning and efficient utility service delivery to support community growth, environmental stewardship, and long-term sustainability. Review and make recommendations on utility-related plans, capital improvement projects, and system expansions. Provide input on utility policies, ordinances, and intermunicipal agreements. Assist in developing long-range infrastructure planning to ensure capacity meets future development and economic goals. Evaluate emerging technologies and practices that improve efficiency, reliability, and environmental performance of utility systems. Serve as a liaison between the town, utility providers, and the residents to ensure open communication and transparency on utility issues. Facilitate interdepartmental coordination on infrastructure projects that involve multiple utilities or right-of-way considerations. I'm actually going to highlight this one because I'm not sure that that is actually your purview, but I'll come back to you on that one. Encourage collaboration between town and private or regional utility providers. Review utility rate proposals, cost of service analyses, and franchise agreements, providing advisory feedback to the council and manager. Monitor compliance with local, state, and federal regulations impacting utility operations and infrastructure. Recommend.
Kind of huge.
I was thinking the same way, and I was like, wow, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, let me, I'm going to highlight this one too, because again, these ones are maybe a little bit, these might need to be narrowed a little bit.
Yeah.
Recommend strategies to improve costs. So again, this is not something that you have to do every meeting or every day. This is kind of just establishing
Boundaries of what we're.
exactly, yep. Recommend strategies to improve cost effectiveness, financial transparency, and equitable service delivery. So, for example, I keep thinking of like the composting pickup as an example of that you guys are doing already. Support initiatives aimed at water conservation, renewable energy, stormwater management, and climate resiliency. How do we feel about that one?
It's pretty,
I like that one.
Okay, you like that one you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I love that. Let me, All right, there we go. Evaluate opportunities for grants, partnerships, or regional programs that enhance the town's sustainability efforts. Again, this isn't saying that you have to go out and be our grant managers, but if something comes to your attention, advocate for it. Advise on best practices for minimizing environmental impacts from utility operations or infrastructure development. This is basically one of the big things that, like, for example, Ray, you do this all the time on your own, you know? Promote community awareness of utility issues, including conservation programs, rate structures, and infrastructure projects. Provide a forum for residents to express concerns or suggestions regarding utility service. Recommend public communication strategies to ensure clarity and accessibility of information related to utility projects. Serve as the municipal aggregation committee relative to electric power supply. And then recommended policies provide guidance in public education regarding the management of solid waste, recycling, and compostable materials.
Small point, but if you want to capitalize municipal aggregation community, I think that's a term of art.
I think you are correct on that.
I guess all I'll say is, I think every committee member here should look at this list and understand the scope of what we're being asked to do.
this is huge.
So again, this is not what you're being, this is not,
This is not the to-do list.
it's not a checklist to do. Yes, thank you. It's,
The borders, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
This is your territory.
yep. You can stay in
Opposed to
this little
somebody
area.
else's territory doesn't mean that everything in the territory you have to do.
Yep.
Yep. You can stay in this little corner of the territory
Yeah.
all you want. Like, if that's where you want to focus your efforts, you can. This gives you greater boundaries for what you can engage in and what your advice will be asked for. So if something comes up related to any of these areas, it'll come to you as a question. What do you think?
I'm just, maybe it's because I did enforcement at EPA, but, so the idea of us being responsible for local, state,
Great, let's,
you know, compliance, and I mean, the only way, I don't want us liable for that, to
There you
tell
go.
the truth.
easy enough. That's done. I think I would
well,
tend to, yeah.
so I agree with that, Anne. However, so is there a
You can say
different way?
Provide advice on.
Yeah, I guess I do agree that I think that we should, within our boundaries, I think that we should keep in mind that we should be aware of the
Cognizant.
regulations that impact all of these, and I think that's appropriate for this committee. Yeah, so if there's different language that could,
Let's try this. Advise. So this is language I used for the budget committee a little bit. So upon request,
Yep, perfect. Because that way we're not proactively doing,
Advise
that's a full-time
on-
job for 10 people.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
the
Yeah.
impact
exactly.
yeah.
of local, state, and federal regulations
That's much
Yeah.
better.
on Londonderry's.
You'll
hold on.
send this to us afterwards, right?
Yes.
And are you saying environmental regulations? Because that doesn't narrow it down too much, but
I don't think
narrow
it
it
does.
down a little bit.
So-
I wouldn't advocate for that, Ann, because we're not an environmental committee. We're, once again, we're a utility committee.
Yeah.
But the regs, you have to be kind of careful, because regs are designed and developed by different agencies that
Yeah,
have
and I do
specific
think it needs to be-
responsibilities.
Yeah, I
And
think
we
it's
do environmental, we don't do agriculture, we don't do Department of Defense, we don't do Department of Energy. So there are all those agencies write their own regs.
Yep.
So
right?
there we go. Let's change it from regulations to policies. I understand what you're
That's
saying.
good.
Regulations is
That's
an
good.
extraordinarily legalistic, specific
Oh,
term.
Yeah,
Policies is more like things that are going to change, right? It's a looser term.
okay.
So
yeah.
upon request, advise on the impact of local, state, and federal policies on Londonderry's utility operations and infrastructure. How do we like that one?
It's better.
How about our interaction with town staff? I mean, initially that was in there.
In
was-
terms of,
I think it's up.
I think it's in there.
so
Isn't
it
in there?
repeatedly does say provide advisory feedback to advise the town council and town manager on matters related. So when you're advising the town manager, like, it's the town manager, and then the town manager assigns staff here, right? Like, so I'm here because the town manager assigned me to be here. I am the staff member in this committee because the town manager told me to be. Just like, when Kristen Farr is at the planning board, she's there because she's told to be there. It's ultimately the town manager's goal, so that's who you're advising, is the town manager.
Yeah, but most specifically, I'm talking about the planning department, the engineering department. I mean, initially, in our duties, there was something in there about having interaction between town staff. Now, I don't know if it should be in there or not.
It's anything like that would be at the discretion of the town manager and fall under the advise the town manager. The town manager can choose to have his staff be the people interacting with, but it's ultimately the town manager's decision. He's the administrative head, so
Okay.
we wouldn't write the code in a way that suggests that he's the absolute administrative head of the town, so we wouldn't write a code suggesting that you would be working directly with a department, because then that would preempt his administrative authority. Does that make sense?
Okay, but my point is
Yeah.
this. I go to the planning department to ask a question.
You can do that
As
as
a
yep,
private citizen,
yep.
okay, not as a member, I mean, unfortunately, they know who I am. So, is
They-
that out of bounds? Wait a minute.
No, not at all.
Okay.
This is your capacity as a committee, not your roles as an individual.
Oh, absolutely.
You're still an individual citizen. You can go ask any questions you want as an individual citizen. This is your role as an advisory committee on town policy and operations.
Okay.
As
so-
a committee, not as an individual, not as a utilities committee member. This is your role as a committee. This is the committee charge.
Okay.
So, and
So if I or others have questions about MS4, that's the engineering department.
you, if you as a citizen have that, you can go talk to the engineering department, absolutely.
How about if
If
a
the
couple of
committee has a
us
question,
want to have a discussion or meeting,
that would go, you can request that meeting
as
Yeah, we're-
individuals.
I think we're getting a little into the
Getting into
weeds
the
here.
weeds,
I'm
I
like,
think,
yeah,
with
we're getting
that.
into the little weeds here. This is not about
Yeah, this-
governing who you can talk to. This is kind of the
Exactly.
bounds of your
Well, I just want
responsibility.
If you're an individual, this is not governing you any way, shape, or form as an individual.
Yeah.
It's outlining the roles and responsibilities I look at as of this committee.
But Ray's question is.
But part of that was interaction with town staff.
Yeah, and I think Kirsten's comment, the town manager encompasses town staff. The town manager is the people within, I don't want to say within these four walls because there's multiple buildings, but I don't,
Third bullet, utility. Can you put upon request in that section?
Under here too?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
That one got me too, because I envisioned how tall
Yeah.
of a stack of paper is a rate request.
There are currently about 15 proposals for rate design right now.
Yeah, and I think
We would
that,
spend the whole meeting and then some to talk about 5 of those 15.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that this would be like, if, I feel like this is more, less like, you know, the big utility rate proposals, and more like smaller things for the town, those community aggregation type of things, yeah.
Right,
I think that's
so-
a good way to do it. And I'm gonna suggest striking this top one, because I think that is just, you are not the ones who should have, you guys aren't really the ones who should be weighing in on right of way or anything like that. That's not your shindig, so.
We certainly wouldn't be the ones facilitating coordination.
No, you
That's-
really shouldn't,
That's the point, I think.
so.
But there's another bullet
Yep.
above here that has the word coordinate in it, which I think actually, here, promote coordinated planning. I
So-
think that addresses Ray's concern,
Yep.
because we're coordinating with town departments, other boards.
Yep.
And I mean,
It's a great point.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, we do have the ability to interact with the departments. I mean,
So what if we change?
you know, hi, I'm Mike from the Utilities Committee, and I'm just wondering about this particular thing. I don't have to go to the town manager to ask
No, not at
permission.
all. But it's like, it's the town. So I guess the way I'm saying it is like, this is a town manager discretion thing. So like, obviously Sean wants you to go talk to people, and he'll tell you that. He sat here and told you that. He wants you guys in meetings. He wants you guys to work with people. But whether, you know, the utilities committee, and this is not just you guys, like whether a committee, where a committee takes order takes order of precedence in regards to somebody's day-to-day work, that type of thing, that's why we're not writing specifically coordinates with the engineering department, because then that kind of jumps over Sean. Do you know what I mean? It jumps over the town manager's
I know,
office.
and if we could overwhelm with, you know,
Yeah,
5 requests asking for the same thing.
exactly. So I think that's where the coordinated planning is in there. And I think that, yeah. But obviously you have access to staff. The town manager actually, so let me do something down here, because this might answer your question, Ray. So aside from our charge, there's some language down here I want to go over. Section 10.7, the town manager support. Town manager shall provide administrative staff and logistical support to the boards, committees, and commissions of the town to the extent such resources are available. The town manager may provide staff liaison support, town-issued email addresses, meeting logistics, webpage postings, and technical assistance to ensure compliance with RSA 91A. Support may also include access to legal counsel, training cost reimbursement for members, and other administrative resources as deemed appropriate.
So if we, on the committee, subcommittee, have questions that we need to get clarification on, perhaps we should send an email to the town manager's office saying, we would like to have some kind of discussion with a member of the staff.
Yep, you don't even need to do that though, because you're gonna have somebody sitting here, and that's what I mean. Like, that's what your liaison's for. Whether it's me right now or James in the future,
So,
if you want to have somebody come before the council and you want to work out scheduling with them, you tell us. That
so it should be sent to you.
probably depends what it is, what the issue
Exactly,
is.
like the conversation, and again, I feel like we're getting a little outside of the charge here, and I want to come back to the charge on this.
Okay.
Path of communication is a separate thing, and we can definitely talk about that in the future, but I really want to focus on this code right here. But this does guarantee that support that Ray was asking. So I'm going to scroll up here a little bit more, just go over the general provisions if anybody has any questions. Appointments and terms governed by the charter. Oath of office, got to sign one. Removal from office, removed in accordance with the provisions of town charter. Rules of procedure. Each individual committee will establish their rules of procedure. So as we're going to be looking at that with all the committees in January.
Is this Robert's Rules of
No,
Order
no, no, no,
issue?
no, 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 no,
This
no, your
is
own
different.
rules of procedure, yeah. Dear Lord, please do not adopt Robert's rules for the utility committee, I beg you and plead you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
just like-
wondering
yeah.
what that meant. Okay.
Yep, your own rules of procedure.
Okay.
Attendance, vacancies will be posted and follow the town charter and the code to fill. Leadership, you have to, on an annual basis, select at minimum a chair and a vice chair. Every committee submits an annual report, and you can create subcommittees at the discretion, and they must comply with 91A.
These are pretty much boilerplate for all committees.
Every single committee, but we're just making sure nobody has any big concerns with anything. But like, that was a great question that Ann had, like Robert's rules, like, sorry, my heart like started beating there. No. But you should have some sort of rules of procedure, like, who gets, the chair at the beginning of the meeting. If regular members absent, the chair appoints
You
an
want to insert Lynn's
alternate.
rules? I mean, what?
Yeah, Lynn's Rules.
So we do have Lynn's rules that we all agreed upon back when we first stood up this committee, right? So, and I think,
I think you guys do have them.
yeah, we do. And they-
You
they
guys,
kind
not
of-
every committee does, you guys do.
Yeah, they kind of withstood the test of time, which doesn't mean that they shouldn't be looked at some point in time in the very near future as well.
Yeah. But all right, with those revisions, are you comfortable with the charge? And I'll come back to this again in December with you, just to run through it with the edits.
Yeah, can you send that out
Sure.
to me and I'll get it out to everybody? I'm not concerned about the scope of the charge, but I just want everybody to be cognizant of the scope of the charge. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things there, and,
Yeah.
One point that doesn't bother me, but it might bother the town manager is when we say we have access to legal counsel. When you start that billing clock, that's bad news. So we need to make sure what you mean by that.
May also include, right there, may also include. This is that support is, remember, this says,
Yeah, but it should be legal support. I think we don't get access to the lawyer. We can't start his billing clock.
no, you cannot, no. And our legal team knows that.
Yeah.
So like, there's a certain thing, like you can't just, yeah. Yeah, that is true. So that's to the town manager shall provide assistance to the extent such resources available, may provide, may also include.
Three-letter word is there.
Yeah, the may is important, yeah. So if like you were to email Megan, Megan would not start working on anything until she got the okay from
Yeah, right.
the TM office, so,
Should
yeah.
still bill you 15 minutes to open.
Who's
the email.
Megan?
Yeah, right.
lawyer.
Megan Carrier is our lawyer at, one of the lawyers from
Bucks
She
to
and
open
Finney
an
who
email.
works with
Oh,
us a
I can
lot.
work on this. $100.
All right, so what, yeah, John?
Just to,
Quite true. Really.
this is sort of like a job description. And I've never really written, I love bullet point job descriptions because they're easy to follow up on, but I've never really written one quite this long, Kirsten.
Okay,
I'm wondering if we should be looking, or maybe you guys will, as part of your process, whittling this down to a manageable few.
sure,
Is there redundancy in there?
all right.
Yeah.
So tell you what, how about I take another pass at this, take that feedback? I've listened to you go, whoa, a couple of times through here, and those are pretty much ingrained in my brain. So I'll try and maybe distill this down to a more, let me see if I can distill this down to slightly fewer bullet points. We'll come back in December, and this might just require it might require, I'll try and get it back out to you quickly.
Where I've seen this
Yeah.
addressed is they had a section, primary focus,
Oh.
okay? Not everything, primary.
Okay, I like that. All right, let me do a little work on this and I'll get back to you on it.
Another possibility is, there are probably 5 or 6 bullets here that say advise. So instead of having those separate bullets, we could just say advise on the following matters.
Love it. Okay,
Yeah.
let me work to condense this and then I will bring it back to you. So this is only a starting point, and as you can tell, like these things came from different places, right?
Do you need me to spell that for you?
Yes, good start.
So it's a great start, and we'll answer the stormwater question for once and for all, Lynn.
And just a couple of other thoughts too, just while we're on this. I think after the first of the year, we as a committee should take a look at the subcommittee structure and see if that still meets the needs of everything that we're being asked to do, and make changes there as appropriate, as well as our committee rules. I think it's just a good opportunity based on the input that Kirsten's just provided us tonight. I think it really makes sense to take a look at that. And it's been a couple of years since we revisited since we visited all that, the first time. So that's going to be my recommendation, is we spend some time in the January or February time period to work through those.
All right, very good.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'm pulling up my computer just because I wanted to remind everyone that applications for re-upping are due on Friday. So if you have not yet filled out that very, very brief online form, which is pretty much just your name, your board, your address, your phone number, and please tell me if you have a conflict of interest. I would encourage you to do so before Friday if you would like to be reappointed.
At the end, it asks
Is
if
there
you want
anyone
to
you
save
had
that.
not received?
I'm going to go down the list. Ann, check. Mike Speltz, check. John Ferrera, check. Martha, check. John Mann, check for everything. Ray, check. Paul, check. Lynn, check. Joy. Who? Jeff, I don't have yours, I don't think.
I gave it to Martha.
Under the bus.
Sorry, I got distracted because somebody who I know as Bob put his name down as J. Robert, and I was like, who is that person? So yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to publicly, yeah, just,
At the end, it says, do you want to
You are
save this
publicly
file?
shamed.
And it says, you haven't set up Teams yet.
huh?
It says at the
Good
end,
try,
you want to
though.
save the
Good
file.
try,
Yeah,
And the error
Drax
you
can be
get
a
is
politician.
Teams has not been administrated.
Blame the
has not turned
lawyer,
this
they
on.
always do.
yeah, it submits, but when you submit it, it goes to me like,
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
but that last feature doesn't work, just let you know.
yeah.
I'd like to-
No, but it's, yeah. All right, cool. So thank you. That's my other thing. I did want to just give a quick update on, we have a meeting with Pennachuck tomorrow that I believe that we have 2 of you in attendance, so thank you.
With that, if I may, what I'd like to do is I'll take notes, and for the water committee, I'll send those out, and maybe we can then update our objectives based upon the timeline that we discussed tomorrow. Does that make sense?
On that note, I think Sean and I will both be at your water subcommittee meeting this month. We're both
is
planning on
that?
going there because we're going to want to talk about that list of projects.
Okay.
So the outcome of the goal for the outcome of that meeting is to have kind of those 12 projects identified, have some very approximate linear feet-based costs, and understand any dependencies or linkages that would have to happen between those projects.
22nd.
So,
Second. Can you guys ask them about what they're doing in terms of their, the report that came out in USA Today about their water quality as it has to do with PFAS and PFOA?
Well, I didn't know about
so
They said they were above the contamination level.
that's certainly something we can address separately. We may not have time at this meeting for it. This meeting is very focused on that project list because we are under the gun in terms of,
But this is pretty
Yeah.
important. You want to make sure that you have good quality
Yep.
water going.
and I will
through
say
those
that these are not the people though. These are the engineers that we're meeting with.
Oh,
So
okay.
like that would
Okay.
be that would actually be something really appropriate for, and you to reach out to Pennachuck's like, their public
Environmental
relations team.
Right.
Yeah, like that would be actually really a great thing for you to do. We're focused on this meeting. This is an engineering meeting with the engineers to really focus on getting those projects because We want to have them grant and shelf ready by January, and we are under the gun on this, and so we want to come out of this with that information that we're going to turn around and talk to you guys on that Saturday, and then we're going to come back here in December with that full list, and then we're going to go to the council with it, and then we're going to get working on those grant applications.
Lot of
So we are going 90 miles an hour on
A
there.
lot of those objectives now might be,
Yeah.
get 3 grants processed each month. Monitor what progress they're making on the grants. That's another thing I'm gonna talk about, I'll have a new schedule tomorrow, but
Yeah.
yeah, things like that.
So-
I'll be very surprised,
Yeah,
cause I noticed that they were really on top of the monitoring, and I was looking over his shoulder, and they were below the standard. That was when we went to the visit, so
Yeah.
I'm dying to see the USA article. That'd be very interesting.
So, yeah, so this is what we're doing tomorrow, is we're really talking about those projects and figuring out, so once High Range Road is done, once this whole situation with San Cobain is resolved and signed and sealed and delivered, what's next, right? We're trying to get that what's next lined up with anticipation of this situation and the agreement with San Cobain coming to a conclusion soon. And we do think we will have something for you very soon on that. The council, they had a non-meeting with council. We're good. All right, we're good. So, but as soon as that's done, we want to be able to move forward. And so that's why we're flying at 90 miles an hour now. Okay? So that's what we're doing at that's the meeting with Pennachuck. High Range Road, Martha, you had said you wanted to know a little bit about it. They have so the main is fully installed all the way up to Royal, and it's been pressure tested. They've removed the temporary main that was running from the corner of Rossini to Parmenter and Old Nashua. So they've completed, as of last week, they had completed about half the services, which the service is from the water main to the curb stop. And they are working on, they still anticipate being done with them all by the end of this year. Let's see. Verdantis, I did confirm that Verdantis along their project along Old Nashua Road is putting in services as well. So from main to curb stop. So as they're going through, those are going to be put in there as well. And those will be, all of these areas that currently have work going on, including up at Old Derry Road, will be factored into the special assessment district that we're looking to create to support, to enable people to connect more quickly to the water infrastructure that's going in.
How far up on Old Dairy Road is it going?
It's connecting Old Derry Road from Auburn to where it already exists. So that's that connection that's going right now.
Okay, right at the intersection.
Yeah, so there's already main at the intersection of Auburn Road and Old Derry Road, and then it comes up as far as Cala, I believe. And so that's just the very brief connection they're doing there. But one of our projects is building out that area of town. One of the proposed projects is building out that area. So, yeah.
High range. Committee-wise, I think it's huge what we've accomplished with that in the last 2 to 3 years. It's gone from 0 to where it is. I forgot something, that a lot of the roads, a lot of the pipes in this town go under the roads. Whereas some of the developments, like Gordon stuff, it's off the road. So it costs more to dig it up and fix it. And they've done a nice job paving half of it. I can see they're gonna pave the other half later on. I was telling Jeff, the other thing I was really surprised about is, I forgot I go to Nashua, so I take the long way to get there. I'm like, oh my God, there's like 6, 7 developments now, all the way down that road, and I think they're all on wells. I haven't looked at the map lately of which of one of those are,
Which road? Which
High Range Road, when you go through it, after you go through the Apple Orchard, name of the Apple Orchard, that road.
Oh, Sunnycrest?
Sunny Crest and you see there's all new developments on, mostly coming this way on the left-hand side. But there's a lot of houses back there, and I'm hoping that those people take advantage of that.
So, yeah, and you all are aware of the special assessment fund that we talked about at the water
Money in,
committee
money
meeting,
out,
some
yeah.
of you. You'll see that the agenda for next week's, and this is why I said, I'm sorry, I'm taking up most of this meeting for you guys, but these are the
That's
things
fine.
that, the proposed warrant articles are now on the agenda for next week's town council meeting. Again, this is where they're starting. the town manager is suggesting funding the Water Capital Reserve Fund, which think of that as that's the infrastructure, that's under the roads, that's pipes under the roads all the way to the curb stop, to the tune of $500,000 to start. And then the Water Special Assessment Fund, which would be used to create those funding, that funding mechanism for the people looking to connect those those loans
Right.
for $400,000 to start. Now, I know some people have said that concerned about what happens if people want more than what's in that fund. The speed of development is going to serve as a check on that, right?
Yeah.
Like it just is. The fact that like the number of infrastructure programs that we're going to be able to do a year and the time it's going to take to get them underway, that's going to let that fund get built up, get paid back. So that's where we're looking to start it. So he's looking to fund both of those using the undesignated fund balance, which is the money that has been left over either from extra revenue or unspent funds in previous years. So that will be talked about more. Those warrant articles will be discussed more at next Monday's town council meeting. If you are available to come and support at that point, that would be lovely. It's a special meeting and budget workshop, which means that all we'll be dealing with is that one special meeting item agenda on the agenda and then the budget workshop. The warrants are at the end of the conversation, so yesterday was a bit of a long night, but you can always go home, have a lovely dinner, and come back. So,
So it's next Monday?
yes, this is the next one. That's the first conversation about that. If you can be in the room to speak to the importance of the capital reserve and the special assessment fund, that would be really helpful. But I also understand that these meetings are a lot and long, so, you know, do
Is
what
it
you
gonna
can when
be-
you can. You're volunteers, and we appreciate you.
So, we're talking about the funds to bring it from the street
Yep.
to the house. If we only have 400,000 for that, that's gonna go pretty quick. But I know one of the things we talked about was charging a bit of interest on that, to the residents. So, and this is just an idea, not
Yeah.
a recommendation. So if we talk to a bank, they may be able to provide that second piece of capital. So if we're charging the residents like 4%, whatever the number is, and then we talk to a bank and say, hey, we're proposing a loan that the town is gonna organize backed by property taxes for these residents and show the math, and if we could borrow the money at like 3%, then we could basically get the funding to do everybody with bank money.
It's not a bad idea at all. And that's something I could certainly bring to Sean as a suggestion when we look to flesh that out.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't, the council has not established the special assessment fund yet. That is, unlike a capital reserve fund, which has to be, it's a little bit different mechanism, but regardless, the appropriation needs to happen by the voters.
Sure.
That amount of money going into it needs to happen to the voters. But we'd be looking to establish a special assessment district that includes any address that we have slated that's on that list of 12 projects, or that currently has a project going on, making them immediately eligible to take advantage of it when they can. Yeah, Ray?
Yeah, what is the current status of the monies for High Range Road? Because the low quote was 5 million whatever in change. And then we had 2 million and 2.9. And so I think you said at one point there was a substantial amount of money still left. What is that? What is the status of that currently?
So I can tell you that the project to date has used up the amount of billing and the requisitions that Pennachuck Processing has used up the 2 million in state ARPA, the 2 million in town ARPA funds, and is going to use some of there's an order in which we have to use the funding as determined by the state, which means we have to go through the ARPA funds first, both town and state, then we have to use up the loan, then we use the grant funds. That's a non-negotiable, it's an order set by the state, and that's that. So this project has used up the ARPA funds, and then we'll have used some of that loan. There is more money left over. After, we will have used pretty much exactly what we thought up to this point on Royal. So there is funding left. And that's where I'm going to stop this conversation for right now.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Good. Anything else?
I think I've talked enough. I'm losing my voice. No, but it's good. Thank you all. I really appreciate this. This was a very administrative heavy conversation, and I appreciate the heavy lift here. We're getting things in, we're getting the house in order. I'm psyched.
You have this where we can see it, or you gonna mail it to us, or?
I'm gonna send it, I'm gonna mail it, I'm gonna send it out to you all.
Thank you, Kirsten.
You're welcome.
Okay, cool. Moving on. Master plan status. Martha?
Well, the biggest thing with the master plan is that this Thursday evening, November 6th, we are opening up to the community to come in and give us their feedback. It's land use, and there's going to be a lot of different stations, maps, and different things for people to give their input. And we certainly hope that as many people that are interested come out, because this is your town and this is your master plan. So your input is valuable. That's my update.
When is this?
Thursday,
Thank you.
6 p.m.
Yes, 6 p.m. in this
in
room.
this room. And there's renewed interest, or maybe an updated schedule is a better way to say it, for finalizing the master plan. They're really trying to work hard now to have it done in April and ready for, approval by the town council. But there's a big push going on. It looks like they have a schedule that supports that completion date as well, so. And a commitment from all parties involved to have it done, right?
That's
So let's hope it moves on in a timely manner.
Yes, we're very hopeful.
Okay, any questions on the master plan? Moving on, subcommittee discussions. I guess for energy, the biggest topic for energy is on the aggregation plan. Had a meeting or a phone call a few weeks ago with Freedom Energy Logistics. And their assessment of the market and their assessment of where they think Eversource will be coming in with their rate case for the term of February through August. It looks like we'll be in a very competitive position to better the Eversource rate. And so we're kind of optimistic that we may be implementing in March or April. We'll see where it goes. But Eversource is meeting, or PUC is meeting next month to approve the rates.
Yeah, I
For-
checked
for that period?
I checked the orders today, there's nothing filed yet, so, they're going through the solicitation process, and there'll be a future filing, correct?
Yep. So when we originally put this plan together with Freedom, there was another partner, Colonial Power Group out of Massachusetts. They have since moved on to other endeavors, and so the entire program will be managed by Freedom Energy Logistics out of Auburn, New Hampshire. So, but I don't see that affecting our plans or our program in any particular way. Freedom has implemented a program with Salem, the town of Salem, and that's or they're working that right now. If anybody was curious and had a few minutes, you could go to the town of Salem website and see where they're at. But I'm kind of looking forward to this, see if we make it finally happen, so.
Will we have to renegotiate our agreement now with Freedom? Because the Colonial is in there.
So, just this past week, Freedom updated the language, went to Sean for his approval, and it's going to the PUC right now, just as notification. So I think we're optimistic right now that we'll have a program sometime early
And
next year.
I'm soliciting feedback from Salem residents and how it's going.
Yeah,
Would
good.
love to hear that,
Yeah.
yep. So,
Could I ask if anyone has talked to the town of Derry in regards to their solar farm on the landfill?
I have not,
Actually, I spoke to the town of Derry.
so so why didn't you say that up front, Ray?
You know, but no, no.
One step on any toes.
No, no, so I spoke to the town manager's assistant, And she checked, and she says the DPW is in charge of that. I just left my name and my phone number. So if I hear anything back, but I just wondered if anyone else had, you know, because it would be interesting to see how that's working out for them, you know? I think they're gonna be using some of the power for their municipal buildings, maybe their schools,
Yep,
and all of that, which is great.
yep, I know that had been their plan.
Yeah, so. We can learn from others.
Absolutely. Or, yeah, reinventing the wheel doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's all I have for the Energy Committee. I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything specific to talk about.
I ceded all my time to Kirsten.
And with that, we'll move on to water.
Water, we have, looks like we're getting started with the build-out. We're sort of on a holding pattern for that, but that's gonna get pretty exciting pretty quick in the next 4 to 6 weeks, it looks like. Ray and Kirsten, sorry, are working on the water town hall in January, we're anticipating. Putting together, I wanna say agendas, that's not the right word, but like a program, structure, that kind of stuff. Do you have an
We have a
update?
date range. We're looking at the 26th, 27th, 28th, that range, that Monday, Tuesday,
January.
Wednesday, sometime in there.
Yeah, so end of January.
So again, we haven't finalized rooms or space or anything for that, but that's the range we're looking at. So if you guys can look at your calendars, that would be swell.
Perfect.
Did you say 22nd?
26th, 27th, 28th, that Monday, either that Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It's between the finalizing of the warrant and the deliberative session.
Oh, boy.
So
And it has to be coordinated with DES.
many people, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big lift, but luckily Kirsten has a lot of spare time. So we're having our water committee meeting on the 15th, second Saturday after this meeting again.
22nd.
Wait a minute, 15.
You said
No, today's the 4th. And then the 8th will be Saturday, and then the second Saturday would be the 15th.
Okay.
Or is that Thanksgiving?
We discussed it earlier.
Am I looking at the calendar wrong?
I don't know.
Yeah, we said the 22nd earlier in the meeting.
Yeah.
22nd's fine, yeah.
Just-
So
Hold on,
which day is
Because
it?
I already posted
Well,
the
usually-
Are we on the
I
right
thought you
month?
said it was 2 Saturdays after our
It's the
meeting.
second
Anyways, we're in the
Okay,
we're in the
so-
30-day window, so it's the 15th.
Okay, it's the
Yeah.
15th.
So we've been doing.
Sorry.
Yeah, we've been doing the second Saturday,
Okay,
so it's the
15th.
15th.
So it's the
Okay.
15th.
Yeah.
Okay.
15th.
And we want to be there because Kirsten and Sean will be there to discuss the 12 projects. So we'll try to keep it,
As much as I love hanging out in town hall by myself on a Saturday, it would be really awesome if you were all there.
that's it for now. I think, I talked to Lynn, I think I'm going to offload the, community outreach Facebook stuff.
Yep.
We talked about that. I'll say it's in discussion.
Yeah, so I was going to say that to roundtable, but we'll talk about it right now. So Jeff and I have been talking about, the water subcommittee kind of took on this role of trying to coordinate community outreach, videos and things like that. And I'm not sure that's the right place for it. So I'm going to be putting together how I see the overall committee going about community outreach and sending it out to everybody and see if somebody's interested in leading that charge as a separate task. I'm just not sure it fits into the subcommittee structure as we have right now. Joy looks like she's gonna,
No, Jeff pointed at me.
Jeff is throwing everybody under the bus.
it kind of,
Navigating this week.
it kind of goes along with what we looked at earlier today with Kirsten's presentation and just trying to improve the subcommittee structure and let the subcommittees focus on the tasks that they have to be concerned about, because there's numerous tasks. And if we have some of these general tasks, then we'll just have those out there as something separate. That's my vision. I think Jeff wasn't upset about having the discussion about moving that into somebody else. So just in the next few days, next week or so, you'll be seeing something coming from me on that.
On water, also Martha, John, Kirsten, meeting with Penachuk tomorrow.
Yep.
And in 1 hour, we'll have all 10 projects scoped out. Well, something like that. Kirsten's not listening.
Is that a face-to-face?
Oh, I'm listening.
It's face-to-face tomorrow.
That's
It is a face-to-face meeting tomorrow, yes.
Perfect.
One of these rooms
Merrill, upstairs.
upstairs.
Anything else for the water folks?
I think that's it. It's a thin report this week.
Yep. Sewer, solid waste?
Yep, we met October the 25th. A couple of interesting things. We've identified an app, frankly, from peeking at the Town of Lebanon website, that they used up there to help folks know what goes in the recycle bin and what doesn't go in the recycle bin. It's very interesting. You load it on your phone, and with that app, you can scan the UPC code on any product. And Lebanon's put in, they're a little different than us in the way they do things, but they've put in individual, we accept plastic bags, for example, in Lebanon, because they have drop-off there, and the plastic bags go into the drop-off container. So the app adjusts and makes it town-specific, so it meets the requirements of your town. And it's very interesting the way it implements, because there's if you happen to hit a UPC code they don't have in their system, you take a picture of the product and the UPC code, you send it to them, and they give you a response in 24 hours. And I know that because I sent them 3 things that I found, and they responded in 24 hours. It was great. They also have a secondary hook, minor hook, but kind of cute, in that if you use the app to scan, every time you scan, you get points, and points equate to up to $2 a month to encourage usage, reward, at least a little bit of usage, and they pay you off in Amazon gift cards or similar type of e-payments. So I don't have funding information. I did, while it's really cool, my concern beyond cool is, will people use it? What's the experience been, et cetera? So I did get from the town manager contact name in Lebanon. Got some great usage back. Since they implemented this program a year or 2 ago, they have 1,000 unique users in a town of 15,000 up there, which is pretty impressive. In August specifically, they had something like 100 people utilize it for about 300 searches for different products. So kind of an interesting app. Still need some dollars and cents on it. I sent off a note to Lebanon today to see what this costs, what the funding looks like for the rewards program, what's the bottom line on the whole thing, and then we can see if it's something that works for our town. It would also be interesting, I think, to approach our friends at Waste Management and say, if this makes more effective recycling and keeps junk you don't want in your recycle bins out of the recycle bins, is this something you would consider funding? Okay, so that's kind of a cool thing. And it's much cooler than I just explained it. When I went to the meeting Saturday, you missed it, Martha, I came in with shopping bags full of stuff, but Ray didn't let me do it in the meeting, okay? So I could scan things and show you how impressive this was. The system really worked well. The other thing I liked about it, not only would it work on the recycling side, but there's an aggressive composting program in Lebanon, and this could be adapted to work with composting depending on how we go about things on it. So very easy, and again, I don't have cost yet. So
Nice work.
so that was number one. Number two, just so everyone knows where I think we're headed with composting, it looks like we're going to end up with 3 separate directions. One is we already have a drop-off program at Sunnycrest with our current sole supplier in town. There is, as I discussed at the last meeting, perhaps the town manager is negotiating a second drop-off location up on Pettingill Road with potentially a new company that's going in there. So that would be one situation. But as I said to Jeff when we started the meeting today, my wife and I are yuppies, and we're not going to have buckets full of waste in our cars driving places. So I was looking for a different solution for somebody that's frankly lazy like us, and we now have one in that sole supplier has now decided to implement a residential pickup program rather than dropping it off. He'll produce, I don't know if the details he gave me are for public consumption quite yet, but that should kick off within the next month or so, and we'll have to figure out a way to help him in that endeavor, because the more folks he gets into the program, the lower the monthly charge will be to those folks who participate. So that will be option number 2. And I think I said at the last meeting, the town manager, in a meeting with Joy and I, suggested, no, he more than suggested, I think he averred, he stated that he would help fund some kind of do-it-yourself home composting equipment. But of course, there'd be requirements on our end. First, we will have to identify the kinds of equipment we're talking about. Frankly, I'm thinking about, you've seen the compost bins in folks' backyards, but perhaps something that's countertop too. We'll see what that looks like. Also, he would require a group education program, whether that's a series of seminars or a video. We talked about that a little bit. Will be determined, but he wants an education program, not only to get folks into composting, but to keep them into composting. We talked a little bit about there are some folks that jump in, do it for a period of time, and then abandon the program because there's no ongoing encouragement, community feel, all that kind of stuff. So we'd have to work that in. Ideally, we'd like to see if we can at least get the home program rolled out sometime in the spring. We think we can hit that deadline. And the best thing about this whole area is I've delegated about 95% of that to Joy, okay? Which I always think, Martha, you picked a great meeting to meet, because my finger was pointing a lot of people at that meeting.
That's true,
Okay.
that's true.
I'm sorry.
I can see Monday morning, class, you have a new assignment.
Yeah.
True.
Last thing, in my last delegation at that meeting, there were other things discussed, but it calls it this in the minutes. I don't remember it discussed originally, but we are initiating under the auspices of my friend Ray here, a Scoop the Poop program, okay? Well,
I get the shit job.
all right. Yeah, let's leave it at Scoop the Poop. And it's actually kind of interesting. Ray identified a brochure, a flyer that I believe the town already possesses on what to do and what not to do with the output of your pets. And I'm keeping it clean, son. We're looking for a way to communicate that to residents in town. I suggested to Ray, and I know he's following up with Sherry Farrell, because she has to do all that work with registrations and things, and I've seen her talk at a number of town council meetings. So we're looking to obtain, if she's so inclined, her email list of registrants, so that we can do a mailing. And as I said to Ray, this is, I don't know if how this works with Scoop the Poop, but it's low-hanging fruit that we could probably make work for us pretty quickly.
Let's keep it clean.
Okay, Ray, get it
That's what
done.
you're trying to do, keep.
Delegated. And that's it for sewer and solid waste this month.
Kicking the much lower on the
Any
ground.
questions for the sewer and solid waste folks?
So many, but none.
I just have one question. I'm curious, I've spent a lot of time in upstate New York, and they have a ban when you go to supermarkets for plastic bags. And everybody has to bring their own bags, to load their own bags. And I'm just, every time I go to the supermarket around here, I just think, well, why, that's an easy one. Why haven't we done that yet? Just even town-wide, to say you can't.
Some towns in
no, just-
Massachusetts do have that.
Yeah.
Maine
yeah.
has it too.
That's why my daughter
Yeah.
grabs my bags to do her scoop poop.
Oh, you can use that too. But I'm just curious as to whether or not there's been thought given to within this, at least within this town.
So,
Say no use of, plastic bags, grocery stores.
so we had
The
this.
stores do, if you have plastic bags, put them all together and take them to, I think,
They
both Shaw's
recycle 'em.
and
Yeah.
Market Basket.
They'll recycle, but there's no law or requirement, say when
Well-
you go into a grocery store or any place that, instead of, they still have the plastic bags.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that because plastic bags get caught up in trees, it's a microplastic, it's really a drag to see them around town. And I'm just wondering if we can't push for requiring people to bring their own bags when they buy something at a store
So
instead of the plastic bags.
yeah, we talked about that on the solid waste committee
Oh, guys,
a few years ago. And didn't we discover we had to have some enabling legislation in Concord that will allow us to do that? So that might be, Ron's not here tonight, but, Ron's always looking for Bill's suggestions, and that
Right.
might be a suggestion to run in
Actually, that-
October,
point in time.
October 27th, it failed at the State House.
Yeah. Well, it was
2012.
withdrawn, I
Well,
think.
I'm just sort of thinking, maybe we could do it townwide.
No, we can't.
They couldn't find a Republican co-sponsor, and they didn't want to go forward without a, at least some semblance of, bilateral support.
Right.
So they withdrew it. They're not gonna go forward
Then-
at the state level.
Oh.
I'm not
Too bad.
convinced, though, that we would necessarily be prohibited from doing it.
I don't-
From
Sure, it's a
prohibited
town.
from prohibiting somebody from doing it. If someone decided to do it on their own, that's a different story.
No, but I'm just wondering if the town can't.
Ken?
In local ordinance, why couldn't we say we don't want any of these stores to give out plastic? Anymore. And people
Yeah,
can-
I guess I would suggest, number one, talk to Ron.
I mean, if that's something Sean would be interested in.
So January 9th.
That's something that would not come from the town manager's office. Something like that would be an ordinance, and that would be go through the council.
Yeah, we'd have to talk to Ron.
Right,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, ordinances are council.
but in 2020, the New Hampshire House passed 2 plastic bills that says towns and cities to pass their own bylaws to prohibit bags.
Yeah, there you go. It could be a
But-
bylaw
Yes, it can.
instead of an ordinance.
And the state just rescinded a statewide ban, so.
Oh,
Ron?
so things have changed.
Yeah.
didn't mention anything
Good. But I would suggest
Okay.
running that through Ron to see what his 2 cents would be for,
I think we have to November 11th to submit bills to Ron, or something like
well,
that.
so it'd be Ron for 2 things. Number one, up in Concord, and number 2 from, he's
The
head of
town, that's right, too,
council.
the town. Good.
More, I'm thinking town council, okay.
Okay, cable, internet?
No changes.
Yeah.
Although cable should be added to that wasn't on the list, Kirsten, of areas of responsibility.
I can, yeah.
Good.
Real quick update on the Supreme Court in the state of Oregon. I'm actually knee deep in a whole bunch of stuff. So satellite service, they're trying to take and do a cable franchise fee. And Supreme Court said no, only hardwire going through the towns, 5% max. And I think we're at 3.4 or something like that. So we're good on satellite, but there's other things happening. Okay?
Yeah, interesting. Okay, good, thank you. And with that, moving on to roundtable discussion. We'll start at this end tonight. John?
I've got nothing.
Rick?
Speaking of cable, I think I spoke to John. My wife has got a little problem with, and you can't get a hold of anybody, right? You can't get a person to talk to. I mean, even if you go to Pittsburgh or wherever their office is, you get no response whatsoever. And we used to have an office right here in Londonderry, right? Which now is gone. They tore the building down. So,
Is it Comcast or Xfinity?
yeah,
Have you tried the store up at the mall?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what you go.
I haven't.
Yeah, the mall in New Hampshire, they have.
I try
an
that
outlet
one.
there.
I told Ray, one of the tricks you can do is, I want new service, and usually you get an answer. So you hit that 6, whatever it is, new service,
Oh, then they
then they answer.
check it out. No, we don't want to lose you.
So,
Yeah, we
I
don't-
sent that to you in a text, I'm sorry if you didn't get it.
Yeah, no, I got it. I
Okay.
just didn't understand what the hell it meant.
All right, so when you start getting the, hello, if you speak English, press 9, go through the whole thing. If you have this, do this, you have this, do this. I want new service, a new customer, hit 1, hit that number. Give that a try,
Okay.
okay? Yes,
Or the store at the mall.
Or the store.
Or go to the store at the mall. There you go.
But
I'll
I've
tell
had
my
good luck
wife.
with equipment problems, just take it up there. Say, this doesn't work, give me a new one. Anything else? Jeff? Mike?
Pass.
Martha,
Pass.
John?
Yeah, 50-mile-per-hour winds tonight and 26 degrees Thursday, so be prepared. Sorry about that. Oh, and the last thing, some of you guys know a computer nerd. You might be getting messages that says Windows 10 support has ended, if you have a Windows 10 computer. Go to updates, and you can go to the right-hand side and get extended service. Sometimes they charge you, sometimes they don't. So that's one, if they do charge you, I think it's $10 for the whole year.
Well, how can you
However-
avoid the $10?
Well, is that legal for me to explain that? Maybe I'll do that in
No,
private,
maybe
I'll
not
set up messages. There is a way. However, stay tuned, there is a state's court going from Oregon to the Supreme Court, that is a forced upgrade that people shouldn't have to pay. They've already paid for the license, why are they paying again? Right, same thing with QuickBooks, that's the other one. Okay, just technical updates, okay?
And
I think I'm good.
Paul?
I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Paul.
Joy?
Just super quick, as you were talking about, kind of the rethinking like communications and things. I just wrote down, because I am trying to really connect with the high school, but there's some cool things that they're doing now where they're doing extended learning opportunities. I know there's a cohort of kids who are doing like firefighting skill building. And this is something that's happening all over the state where students are getting credit for, you know, things that are outside the norm of school, but, you know, it's still learning opportunities for them. So wouldn't it be awesome if we, you know, approached the school to maybe that would be a learning opportunity for a student to be like, you know, come here as a liaison for our committee and to work as communications for our committee. So I'm gonna look into that.
Excellent idea. Social media communications.
Yes,
those
and they are
guys
so
can
good
do
on social media and, you know, the quick videos and things. So, so I will look into that.
That is a
Yeah.
fabulous
Yeah.
idea.
Good. Good. Kirsten, anything?
I have talked way too much tonight, I'm good.
Okay. Oh, you haven't. Oh, you haven't. What time tomorrow? And so with that, we'll move on to public comment. To check that box, our next meeting is Tuesday, December 2nd. So that's that's just right around the corner, especially with the holiday coming up. So echoing Paul's sentiment, everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy your time with your families. And we will,
Can I share your announcement?
sure.
Our beloved leader Lynn is a new grandpa.
Oh, that's right.
First time. First time.
Wow.
Let the spoiling times begin.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so. Yep, mom and baby are, and father, but everybody's healthy and happy, and so we're looking forward to a new vibe at Thanksgiving. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the baby's name?
Henry Patrick
Henry.
Beck.
Henry Patrick.
Great name.
Yeah,
There
so,
we go. Excellent.
That's a great name.
yeah, so.
Gonna be king.
Patrick.
Just what I was thinking. Here comes the revolution.
It's all ready. So with that, thank you, Jeff, for that. I'll take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to
Second.
adjourn.
And all in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye, opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.